This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna try and keep this one a bit short, just because I have to do something right after this. So we'll jump right in. I didn't put too many topics because of the time frame, but obviously, I wanted to talk about the Drake and Kendrick
I thought so.
beef. I know that's like the biggest thing. I was like, oh, maybe I'll save it to the end, but like, I don't know how long this is gonna go. So like, let me just bring this up. Okay, bro. This morning, I had to take down my 6 God playlist that I have on Zenrail, and I took it off the story. I was like, I can't be messing with Drake like that anymore. It's just undeniably sad now. So like, all right. So do you know how this all happened?
No.
Okay, so J. Cole and Drake made that song together, First Person Shooter.
Okay.
Okay, and then Drake and J. Cole are basically saying how they're like number one, and then Kendrick took that personally. So he's like, okay, you guys want to be number one? Let's battle. So in Like That, he puts out just a verse about how, you know, like Mother F the Big Three, it's just Big Me. Have you heard that? Oh, it's been going around. Like the anime world took it over because the big three was Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. They're like, oh, I got the big three. So anyway, he dropped that, and then Drake got upset at that, and J. Cole too.
Okay.
So then, because they're like, oh yeah, like, well, why are you attacking both of us? So J. Cole drops a diss record. All right, I listened to it. I was like, it's okay. Basically, what he's saying is like, Kendrick is overplayed, and like, but I'm like, you can't really say that. We all know that Kendrick's sick. So then, literally, I think a couple days later, he's doing a show, goes on stage, and he apologizes publicly to Kendrick Lamar on stage, saying like, we all know we love Kendrick, and the crowd's like, we love Kendrick, and he's like, I know, I'm gonna take down that song. So he takes down the song and apologizes. So he's out of the game. There's no more big three. Like I mean, if you're battling for the first person, right? So then Kendrick brings J. Cole on stage, like, okay, beef's done, whatever. So then Drake is like, no, I want to battle head to head with this guy. Okay. So Drake drops a track where he's making fun of everyone.
Okay.
That hate him. Okay. And then he drops another track that I thought was genius. I'm admittedly saying it's genius, where he used the AI of Tupac and Snoop Dogg, and they're begging Kendrick to fight back because it's been like 5 weeks and he hasn't said anything. Okay, so Kendrick took that personally, and then he dropped Euphoria. It's so good. So the thing that I was listening to this one guy, he put it the best. He's like, you heard the Drake diss, but you listened to the Kendrick diss because the song was so good. It was like a classic. Like, I'm still playing it, and it's not like it's just one looping beat and then you're just like attacking him, which is what Drake kind of did. Which is like, you'd expect that, like, just keep it basic. Let's just like freestyle. But like, Kendrick is making songs, bro. He's making like songs that you're like, oh, this is gonna be a cloud. We could come back to this song later, you know. So then it went to the top of the Apple charts, bro. And then they played it on TSN because it's such a good song. Right? So then, and he mentions Ho King in Chinatown, Toronto. Me and my sister are like, yo, let's go there, check it out, right? She's like, oh, it's just Chinese food. I'm like, but he mentioned it. And the whole internet blew up. They like started like flooding that restaurant with like 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
So
I heard
then,
that. Yeah.
right? So then what Drake did was he dropped a music video and a song called Family Matters. Okay. And he took the car from Good Kid Mad City, brought it to Toronto in the music video. He also went to that Ho King restaurant and did an after hours music video shoot there.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like really going in, okay? And then he crushed the Good Kid Mad City car
Okay.
in the music video.
Yeah. All right.
All right, like he's really
Sure.
old man. I'm going in. All right, cool. So the problem was in Euphoria, Kendrick said, "I know what your next move is going to be." All right. He knows that you're just going to make fun of my family and make lies. So in the song, it's like, oh, you're a wife beater. Dave Free, who's his producer, is actually the secret father of Kendrick's child. It's like, okay, man, you're going off. Like, do we really? Is this true? Like, there's no way to fact check this. Okay. 30 minutes. I think it was 15, but somebody's been saying 30 minutes. 30 minutes later, after Drake dropped his family song, Kendrick dropped his family song. Imagine that. You're like, oh, I'm about to get him with this one. Drop it. 30 minutes later, Kendrick just uploaded a new song. You're like, wait, what? Let's go listen to it. So in that song, it's called Meet the Grams. So he went through every member of Drake's family and apologized to them. So the first verse was dedicated to Adonis, his son. And basically it was like, your father's not a good role model. I can teach you the way. Just like, you're a king. Hold your head up high. Never let another man piss on you. Because we know like that Puff Daddy peed on Drake and he didn't say anything. He slapped Drake in the face, didn't do anything, you know?
Sure.
And it was public knowledge. Like people know about this happening. And then he was like, yeah, don't be like your dad, you know? Like he was just giving him like morals and values. Okay. And then he went to Drake's mom and said, hey, you raised a bad kid, you know, but there's like intergenerational trauma. We got to get over this. I don't blame you. He's a bad person, but it is what it is. Then he goes to Drake's dad. And that verse is about how your trauma got passed down to your son. And now your son is traumatizing the world because of the values you taught him. Bro, this is like, you just gave him therapy, bro. Like, it's not even a diss anymore. You're just like, oh, bro. Oh, no, sorry. There was one, okay, wait, sorry. Hold that thought. I forgot there was a song in between there. So after he dropped Sorry. So he dropped Euphoria, then he dropped 616 in Compton. 616 is a reference to Father's Day. And basically in the whole, well, multiple references, in the whole verse. So the first verse was about Kendrick and the second verse was about leaks in Drake's camp. He's like, people are stealing your money. People are selling your information. They really believe that you should come down because you're like bigger than you are. We all know this. Everybody in the industry knows this. Like, cause like Drake's already been paranoid. Cause like he'll give money out. You know, it's like, hey man, here's $2,000 or $200,000 for this business. Comes back and like, oh man, we lost the money.
Right.
It's like, how'd you lose the money? You know what I mean? But it's like, oh, you probably just stole the money.
Mm-hmm.
So you get Euphoria, then you get leaks in the camp, then Drake drops the family song, and then Kendrick drops his family song right after. Okay. So we're 3 songs deep for Kendrick, 2 songs for Drake. And Drake's 2 songs were like meh. Going back to the family song. So then he reveals that Drake has a fake daughter. No, sorry. He has a daughter. Okay. But people on the internet are saying it's fake. Like, oh no, Drake fed you misinformation to the mole. So like, what's happening to that mole, bro? Like, imagine that you feed disinformation to certain people, and then like it gets back to Kendrick, like that's the mole. Like, are they beating that guy up right now? Or are they like killing him? Like, what are we doing? You know, it's like those movies,
right?
But anyway, so Kendrick is rapping on that verse to Drake's daughter about how like you don't want to meet a man like your father because he'll treat you wrong and like all that. And when it's raining outside and you're sad, just play the song back. Over Adonis, he's like, I know you don't know what I'm singing right now. Oh, you don't know what I'm saying right now, but when you're 18, come back and listen to the song and I'll help you out. Like, imagine that. Like, you're just like, each individual member of the family, you have a message for them. And then the final one is a verse to Drake about how he needs to like go to therapy. Like, therapy is a good start, but he needs to do some ayahuasca and really do some soul searching because he's 37 acting like a 7-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
and like all that. It's crazy. So then he drops that, and then what was the other song? I think that was it. Euphoria, 616, this one. I feel like I'm forgetting one. But then yesterday he dropped another song
Who?
called Kendrick again. 3 songs in 48 hours, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and what people are saying is like he has so many more songs coming, and then in this song he alluded to his 5 more songs about to be released. It's like either stop now or I'm gonna keep dropping these
Right.
songs.
Yeah.
So then in this song, so everyone's like on the internet, they're like, oh, Drake's winning because Drake's song. No, like it depends who you talk to, because they're like, oh, Kendrick. The lyricists are like, oh, Kendrick's winning because he's a great rapper, right? These are like deconstructions of your soul, bro. You know. And then Drake's ones are more like tunes. They're like superficial,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they're like the people who are for Drake are like he's winning because he's winning the crowd with like his like catchy songs.
Sure.
Okay, so then last night, Kendrick drops a song called "Not Like Us," and it's so catchy.
Mm-hmm.
And he put it on Spotify, and it's like, but the whole hook is about how Drake is a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
And how his entire, but this is actually true though. This is the crazy part is, so the people within Drake's camp, like there's this one guy who's like a security guard. He is he went to jail for human sex traffic of minors.
Mm-hmm.
So the cover art was Drake's house on Google Maps, and then the pins are of sex offender pins, and they're all inside Drake's house.
Okay. Yeah.
And the whole rap is outing how in the music industry we have this weird sex ring going on,
Mm-hmm.
and Drake's a part of it.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so this is where we left off right now. So like battle's done, and the whole internet's getting involved. Drake posted this video of Kratos. I just sent it to you before this podcast. Posted a video of Kratos like I will kill them, and then the developers wrote back, we're not down with you, Drake. That's cold, bro. Like, I feel like we're all just backing away from Drake now, like with all this information coming out. And like Kendrick is like, this is just the beginning. You guys want to know more? We'll keep fighting and I'll unearth all the truth. Okay, so with that all being said, why is 2024 the year of truths, bro? We found out about Puff Daddy. Cat Williams started the year with like, oh, there's this like conspiracy cabal going on. Now Kendrick's mission is like, I will bring the hand of God down and destroy you. So like the meme was so funny because Drake's diss was like, you're short and you have small feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then like by comparison, Kendrick is like, God has brought me down to smite the devil and you are the devil. It's like, bro, we're not even playing the same game here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like some next level, but like I wonder where this could go, because it's like Drake has so many ties with like the Raptors. Like I'm not saying like in a rap battle. I'm saying like actually, can this bring his entire empire down? Because the thing is, the internet is getting involved now. So people are just like posting all these old videos of Drake. So they're like, oh, it'd be funny to see Kendrick as a kid. And then they show a picture of Kendrick as a kid. He's like actually gangbanging and like rapping on the streets. Like he looks like a hood person. And they post Drake as a kid and it's like him cuddling with dudes. And they're like, this is your goat?
Yeah, I mean, he's from Degrassi, right?
That's what the
Didn't they
whole
always
internet's
say
bringing
that?
up. Yeah, exactly, right? But it's like to me, I was like, no, he has good songs though. They are hits. But that's what Kendrick said. He's like, just keep making me shake my hips and wave my hands and we won't have a problem. But don't say you're like from the streets. And then even an old interview resurfaced with Lil Wayne saying how you should just keep it Canadian. Like Canadians don't do Compton stuff. Why are you acting like a gangbanger, bro?
Sure. Yeah.
Right? And then Kendrick's like, you're a culture vulture. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going into these things. He's like, that's why you keep making these accents. You know, when like Drake
Yeah,
started
yeah,
like
yeah.
the Jamaican stuff, right? In the whole album where he's in Jamaica, he's like, you can't sell me a fake accent. It's
Hmm.
like, damn, bro. Like, it's almost like he's showing us. We all kind of knew it. We are all like, oh yeah, that's a good song. That's a good song. But he's like, no, no, this guy's like the epitome of fake.
Well, he's an actor, right? First.
Okay, okay. So I saw that before any of this started. That's so funny you said that because before any of this started, I saw this video a long time, like a year ago. That was, is Drake a rapper or an actor playing a rapper? Question mark.
Okay.
And I was like, what are you talking about? And you watch it, and you're like, I see what you mean. Because he's on like the late night show and he's like playing undercover interviewer. Like
Hmm.
he is literally acting in those things. And that's not what like a rapper would do. He is literally an actor playing a rapper.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Sure.
No, no, but he's trying to come off as a real rapper.
Yeah, yeah, he's. I know, I know. But I think that was. But even when he was coming up, that was one of my issues with him, anyways. Like he's from Degrassi. Like we knew him from
Yeah,
Degrassi. It's like
I know you guys all hated him. I was like, no, it's a good. These are good songs, bro. Like I was like, no, you have to
yeah,
acknowledge.
but when
Yeah,
he's like especially like coming from the bottom, whatever, right? That song.
yeah. Start from the bottom. Now we're
Sorry for
here.
that. I was like, what
Yeah.
bottom? You were at Degrassi, bro.
All right. You know what's really funny? So the bottom, an interview resurfaced about how it was an old interview, and the interviewer is Rosenthal. He's like on this like he's a very famous interviewer now, but he was interviewing Drake back in the day,
Okay.
and that interviewer's like, "Oh, you're doing it for the Jewish culture."
Mm-hmm.
This is when Drake was like younger, and he's like, "Oh, you're about to be so famous, because like the Jewish people love like people bigging up Jewish people." And then Drake and that he's like, "I know, man. I know I'm gonna be famous. Like, I had my bar mitzvah. It was like a giant bar mitzvah. We rented out an entire Italian restaurant. Backstreet Boys was my anthem of the night." This is when Drake was playing like the lover boy. You know, when he was
Okay.
like starting out and he's like, oh, he's like the cool, suave lover boy.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go from like Backstreet Boys is my anthem? I read my bar mitzvah. I read my like passages at bar mitzvah. We rented a giant, like a big Italian restaurant for all this, and then you're singing "Start from the Bottom." Now we're here, and it's like, it's not adding up now.
Sure.
You
Yeah. Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and Drake even said he's like, I lived in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood. I went to a predominantly Jewish school.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so those people got money. Like, I don't really understand what you're saying now. But that's what I mean. It's like we look at Drake as who he is now. But the internet is like Kendrick is spurring the internet to bring back the truth, which is what you knew because you were like, oh yeah, well, I watched that guy on Degrassi, bro. Like Jared hates Drake, right? And I'm like, why hate him, bro? Like he's got good music. He's like, no, he's on Degrassi. I can never take him seriously. I'm like, what? And it's like,
Sure.
oh damn. Even my sister was too. Like she's like, when I was sending her like those historical things, she's like, yeah, we all knew this. Like Torontonians knew this,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
you know. And in the Not Like Us track, forgetting all the pedophile stuff, which is like, sure, that's hearsay. Like until you get implicated in that crime, let's talk about that one though, because I think there's some crazy things that could happen from that. But let's go to the culture vulturing. In the Like That track, Kendrick Lamar literally gives a historical teaching about slavery and how Atlanta was the main place where like they'd like have slaves go and like economic boom. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. And then he said how Drake went there to learn the game from like Lil Wayne and like all these different rappers. And he said, you're not a colleague, you're a colonizer. And I was like, damn, bro, that's a good line.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that is what you did. You like, that's what the indigenous people went through, right? Like the white people came in, so like they mixed with the tribes. So you got Métis people, you get a Drake, a Métis, double,
Sure.
double, you know what I mean? Like both a mixed race. And then like you start piecing that apart. And then you have people like Kendrick who are like of that thing, like 100%, you know? And then being like, you're just stealing our culture
Mm-hmm.
to profit as a white person. I mean, like he's mixed, so it's like technically you're not fully white. Like,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
your dad's black, your mom's Jewish, but it's like don't don't put yourself in the same ring as us because you didn't know what we went through. Is what Kendrick is trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then there was this interview that resurfaced again, which is because like Tara's like he kind of feels like she doesn't like Drake either, and I was like, why? And she's like, he kind of feels like he's trying like to be accepted before this even started, and I was like, oh, what do you mean? Like, and then this started playing out, and then Kendrick was just saying how like, yeah, you're just trying to be accepted, and then an interview. I watched this interview before, but I never like really thought about it. But Drake in it is like, he was like, yeah, I feel so bad, you know, because like my blackest friends, they won't let me in the club. You know, like they're like, oh, you can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not like us. And he's like, I always felt like excluded and I just want to be accepted. I'm like, man, let him live. He just wants to be
Yeah, of course.
accepted.
Yeah.
But it's a joke. I didn't literally mean like let him live. But like, you know what I mean? Like, you see where the trauma's coming from now as to why he's overcompensating as this like gangster person because he just wants to be accepted by his peers.
Sure.
And Kendrick is fully saying, like in this song, like, not like us, like you're literally not a peer.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. What's gonna happen from this? Oh wait, hold on, wait. One other crazy part. So one of the things that Drake has been doing. So Academics is this guy who's like a huge Drake fan. He's like, Drake's the GOAT, whatever, right? And on the live streams, as he was going back and forth, he kept making fun of Kendrick's tracks, right? And then after Not Like Us came out yesterday, he was like, Drake, you just gotta shoot him. Like, there's nothing, you gotta kill this man. Like, literally, like physically kill this man. Because you can't win this battle, right? So he went from like Drake's number one to damn, you like what I'm saying is like Kendrick's actually winning over the Drake fan. Like me, I'm like, ooh, I like Drake, but I can't take him seriously anymore. I have to take that playlist down. You know? So it's like, are you legit going to lose your empire over this? I don't know. From the popularity front. And then we'll talk about like legalities here. So what do you think from popularity front? Because you got the OVO store, you got your partnerships with like Raptors, UFT, TFC.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I think all these things are always just better overall and than
Marketing?
Marketing.
Okay. So I agree. Yeah, because you're like, yeah, okay, you can be a fake rapper. Okay, totally. Yeah. So we're repping the brand of a fake rapper. Now let's get to the legalities. Kendrick has asserted on multiple accounts alleged on multiple accounts that Drake is into sex trafficking and pedophilia. And then the internet brought back some old articles about how Drake paid off somebody he sex offended $500,000 to keep it quiet. And then other people were showing how Drake was hitting on a 16-year-old as soon as they just turned 16. They got timestamps on it, on her age. Like, he's like fully like hugging up on her and like kissing her and stuff.
Yeah.
But her birthday had just happened when he posted that picture. And so she just turned 16. And he hangs around with a person that actually went to jail for like a number of years due to human sex trafficking. So if you're bringing all this up as a brand, okay, cool. Like, yeah, you're the fake rapper that we're supporting. But can you really get down with sex trafficking and pedophilia? That's why I'm like, is your empire going to go down? Because as a police officer, like, because remember in America, there was like those people that they rapped about their killing someone, and then it turned out that they actually killed them. So they went to jail for it.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so like, is this the same situation here? Like, you're bringing it to light. Are some detectives going to be like, what's going on? Because we know Puff Daddy was into some stuff.
Yeah,
so we know it's prevalent.
Yeah, but only that. Yeah, the only thing would be this: you have to, whenever that allegation stuff actually happens, right? That's the only time.
For sure, no, totally. But we know as a brand, even if the allegations aren't in yet, you want to dissociate yourself from that person. That's why the video game company said, like with the Kratos, we're not with you, Drake. That's cold. The video game company said that when he used their clip on his stories.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, monetarily, can this bring you down? What do you think?
We'll only find out over time, but I don't know.
Okay, let's say you are like a sponsor of him. Would you not like it's remember like even Spotify, right? Joe Rogan had that controversy of saying the N-word or something, or like they said he was racist, or like the horse dewormer, right?
Sure.
And then he lost sponsors off that. Is it like could that happen here too?
Uh,
UFT, bro.
no, no,
Like
I understand what you're saying, but these are allegations from someone else, right? It's not from his own words.
100%. But we do know factually he does hang around. Like the person on payroll is
Sure. Yeah.
a human sex trafficking person.
Right. Yeah.
Like, why are you hanging out with that guy?
Yeah. I think if that those things happen, they probably would have looked into if Drake is connected to it.
Now though, but you don't know that in the beginning because like
No,
as
no,
a
no, no.
regular person. Okay, yeah.
As no, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying the cops at the time, right? If that guy's been convicted of sex trafficking,
Yeah, he has though.
right? So I would think that if he's connected to Drake, or is there some things within that camp?
Oh, yep. I got you. So that's so funny you say that because in that 616 thing, remember I told you there's like moles in your camp. One of the lines is you're paranoid about people having a wire.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, are they trying to bring you down? Is there this like investigation on you right now?
Sure, right.
And one other thing too that was pretty interesting is like everybody keeps leaving Drake, right? And then one of the lines is like, you fake bully, I hate bullies. You must be a bad person because everybody around you keeps leaving. And it's like, that's true. Like why? Because like Future was like super in on Drake, now is on the opposite side. Metro Boomin, Rick Ross. Remember like Stay Schemin'?
I don't
Rick
know.
Ross?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You know the song Stay Schemin'?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it's like a very popular song, and like they came up together. Like Rick Ross put Drake on, and then now Rick Ross dropped a diss track. So it's like, why do these people keep leaving you? Even The Weeknd was like, "Hey, Drake's a weird guy." Oh, okay. Speaking of which, so apparently the reason The Weeknd doesn't like Drake is because Drake either hit on or slept with The Weeknd's girl.
Okay.
So and then, you know Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
So he's the one who like got Drake big.
Yeah, wasn't he he joined him first,
he
right?
was the ghostwriter.
Yeah.
So when Lil Wayne went to jail, Drake slept with his baby mama.
Okay.
And then Academics, the dude who I was saying who's like a huge fan of Drake, he's like, you keep sleeping around with all these people. It's not a good look. Like, we get that you could sleep with any girl you want, bro. But like to actually do it, it's like you have no morals and it's looking kind of bad on your character, right? So then in this Not Like Us song, he said, Kendrick referenced how he slept with Lil Wayne's girl, and he said that the tattoos on Drake's face are apology tattoos. That's why he's been getting tatted on his face. Like, yeah, could be. Like, hey, Lil Wayne, we got to get back together. All right, tattoo on your face that you're mine now. You know, something like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, wait, question. Do you think that Drake was just a normal dude who just got caught up in the wrong things and he doesn't know how to get out of it now? Because, like, he was just a normal guy. And then he went into, like, Lil Wayne's world. Birdman is, like, apparently an extortionist who's, like, Lil Wayne's manager. Right? Remember that whole beef? Like, put some respect on my name. That was Birdman.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, like, everyone was, like, hating on him, but he's, like, a real mobster. So, like, do you think that maybe just Drake got caught up in the wrong people?
Yeah, I think I remember in the like when he was first starting off, right? Joining that Lil Wayne's side. It just didn't make sense.
Because it was too hardcore gangster?
Yeah. It was like different from who he is. Or
no, I know what you mean. Yeah. It's like Chris Brown though. So like Chris Brown was like that singer, right? Soulful singer. And then he joined the Bloods. He like became a certified Blood. And the people, the culture were like, why did you do that? Like, you had all the money. You only join a gang when you have no money and no help.
Mhm.
So why did you actively? But it's like, are you looking for street cred? Because once you get into that world, it's like, no, you're actually in that world, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
like, could that have been what happened to Drake? Is he just a nice, soft guy? Because when, like, everybody who talks about Drake, they're always like, oh my, he's such a gentle soul, such a nice person.
Mhm.
Like, nobody talks about him as like, oh, he's this like hard dude, he's beat you up, bro.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So we could see the full, like, it's like Kendrick is like the Wizard of Oz moment. He's like pulling back the curtain. Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel that too? Wizard of Oz moment?
Maybe, yeah, we'll see. Maybe then, it's if they all, make up in a sense,
Yeah, that'd be funny in the future.
then it's just like,
Yeah, like, where does your career go from here? But like, really, where does your career go from here? If you're Drake, he's like, oh yeah, I got all the money. Yeah, totally, you got all the money. Yeah, just live off your investments, bro.
mhm.
But like, who's gonna want to work with Drake after this? Like, the whole community is now like not attacking him, but they're like, ooh, you lost this battle. And like, oh, now we're all thinking, like, the chant now is uh freaky a n-word. He a fan, he a fan, he a fan. Freaky a n-word
Mhm.
is now the chant, and it's like, it's so catchy. I was playing it on Spotify, I'm like, damn, it's good. Like, you're gonna hear people chanting that,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And then he's like, chant with me, OV ho. And then he gets like all these like people chanting behind him. And you gotta listen to it after. It's like so rude.
Sure.
It's so rude. But you know what I mean? And it's like, that's what you're gonna be known for from now on in the culture.
Mhm.
OV ho and a fan. Where do you take your career? Thoughts?
Yeah, this is not my world, so yeah. I
No,
think
but like,
this is
as a person, I'm saying like just branding wise, or just like thinking about marketing. Like,
sure.
imagine
Yeah,
if
yeah,
like
yeah.
you have all this allegation towards like PlayStation. What are you gonna do, bro?
Mhm. Yeah. If it's going to affect the brand, yeah, sure. Of course.
Right? Yeah. Crazy. That's why I think I'm saying it for a while now. 2024, the year of truths. Like, I started with Cat Williams when he was just like outing all that stuff, and then now you have like the uncovering of Drake, the Puff Daddy stuff. Oh, the Kardashian stuff. Did you see that one? Oh my god.
Which one, the
So they're
Kardashians?
saying, allegedly, I don't know if it's true, but Kim Kardashian has information. Like, you know Ghislaine Maxwell?
Oh, yeah.
She's like the Ghislaine Maxwell of Puff Daddy,
Okay.
helping him with his sex trafficking.
Mhm.
And that's how they got so big, bro. What are we doing out here? If
Right.
that comes out to be true, what are we doing out here, bro?
Sure.
Because Kanye West said that too, bro. And then we all ignored him. Kanye West is like, oh, but it's true though. Okay. So he's like, I don't want you hoeing out my kids for money. Kris Jenner is the devil.
Mhm.
He said this because Christian, you know, the mom?
Yeah.
Christian, she like pimped out her kids to become rich and famous. And he's like, I don't want you to do that to my children.
Mhm.
Kanye West said that to Kim and Kris Jenner. And now you look back, you're like, technically he's right. That's what reality TV is.
Mhm.
You know? Yeah. Like, it's wild. If you watch the old Kardashians, you see like Kendall and Kylie as little kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Little kids just running around, right? And then now they're older and they're like full on models and they're just naked.
Mhm.
And that's what Kanye said. He's like, you're just pimping out my children like you pimped out your children. And it's like, yeah. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. That's another
Good,
way to
bad,
look at
good.
it. Sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
Wow, you disagree? You're like, no, that's a good sound business decision.
yeah, it's they have their own decisions what they make of it.
But okay. But when is okay? No, 100%. I understand what you're saying. Like, they all have their own decisions, and it must be nice to be able to I'm just gonna bring up a personal story. I'm just gonna like kind of shift it. Um, I I was telling you guys, I had the opportunity to shift positions, like different job, and I was like, no. But they're like, but why? It's like obviously it's more money, you know, higher job security, you know, whatever. And I was like I literally told the person who I was trying to make it as vague as possible, but I love her. You know what? Whatever. I'm just gonna say it. I told my boss, I love my boss, best boss ever. Shout out to you, boss. She's like, hey, like, why don't you go for this position? It's like, great. And I was like, no. And she's like, oh, you don't want the thing? And I was like, jobs. I literally said this to her. I was like, jobs come and go, but what we do with our time matters. And I like what we're doing here. So I want to keep supporting that. And she was like, damn. I was like, so what's next on the agenda?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I was like, but it's like that. Because what you said, you're like, oh, people make decisions. It's like, yeah. But like, I don't know. I just felt like, because I really contemplated, because I saw the posting and I was like, will I do this? And then I was like thinking about it. And I was like, I don't want to look at myself in the mirror and be like, you sold out, bro, for some money.
Right.
And so with that, it's like the Kardashian thing. It's like, you just sold your children, bro, for some money.
Yeah, but I feel like that they had a decision, right? What happened to the brother? Do you see the brother anymore?
Oh, do you know what happened to the brother? Oh, yeah, exactly. It's not a decision, bro. We're watching it right now. He is going through a mental health crisis on reality TV because we were watching this, like, because we're like, when does it get good? Because in the beginning, it's just boring. It's just like regular life stuff. Like, he's like, the dad is literally going for a colonoscopy. I'm like, why did we watch this episode of like a regular person doing regular things? It was weird. And then like, so we Google like Reddit, you know, when does it get crazy? And then it gets crazy when the brother, he doesn't want to be a part of it anymore, but they want him to keep making money. He spirals and he's like going through like some addictions. He's like super overweight. He's unhappy. He's depressed. So it's like, you're like, where's the brother? I'm like, yeah, the brother's not on TV because he's like, he cracked his mind. Like he saw what was happening. So it's not really, I wouldn't call that one a decision. That was more like he couldn't escape it. Like they kept trying to put him on camera and he's like, I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be like, it was wild, bro. It was wild.
Sure.
Until they just fully just cut him out.
Yeah.
So, okay, going back to it, it's like, I don't want to become the brother. Like look at myself and be like, bro, I sold out. I could have kept with a good thing because I believe in what we're doing. But I'm here because I want to do what we're doing. Versus like, okay, you just got the paycheck, but like, now what? You know? I don't know. What do you think? Actually, that's a really good thought. What do you think about that?
Which one?
Like where, because it's like, even though I didn't like my first martial arts, like it fell off. Like it was great in the beginning, but one of the things that one of my first martial arts teachers taught me, and I still think about it to this day, he's like, do you want to, Steve Jobs said it too, but this guy said it first to me, which is like, do you want to sell toilet paper or do you want to change people's lives? Right? Because the martial arts person worked at like a toilet paper company. He was like a marketing head, and he left that to become a martial arts teacher. I was like, oh, I was like talking to him one time, like, why'd you decide to do that? Why'd you stay in the corporate world? He's like, I was just selling toilet paper. Why would I do that? But here, I'm uplifting people's lives. I'm making them better.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm down for that too. And he's like, ask yourself that question. You know? And then Steve Jobs said that too to the Pepsi dude, right? He's like, do you want to sell sugar water or do you want to change the world? And it's like, those moments are like literal forks in the road.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't know, some people just like, you know what I mean? It's like I get it if you need the money, but if you're okay, like I'm not even desperate, you know? It's like, okay, so I'm gonna make like what? Like, let's say I'm gonna make $10,000 more. All right, cool. What am I gonna do with that money?
Right.
Like, no, it's great to have more money. I'm not saying like throw away money, but like at what cost? You know, there's a point of diminishing returns. There's
two things, right? Yeah. There's two things to that, right? It depends for your own sanity, and it's like who you want, who you're gonna work with, like all that kind of stuff matters.
Yeah.
It's not just about money. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. For sure. Yeah. Like, yeah, you see it, right?
Sure.
It's
Yeah,
like,
of course. Yeah.
but then it's like, I don't bring. It's a valid point. It's a valid point. Okay, and I don't want to bring it. I was a little salty when I read it. I was like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I was a little salty when I read it. I was like, fuck you guys, bro. I was like, my son. I was like, god damn. All right, right. So okay, so we all know Tara is a doctor, and it's like, but only you know the truth about like that come up.
Sure.
Right? You
Yeah.
live with
Yeah.
us. You saw how hard that was.
Yeah.
You see how I'm still like grinding for that.
Yeah.
And it's like when it's like, oh, well, your wife's a doctor. I'm like, yeah, but you don't know what that like. You see one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't know what that's really like. You know what that's really like
Yeah.
because you were there, and it's like that's funny because it's like it's just perception. It's like so when they're like, "Oh, it's easy for you to say," I'm like, "No, bro. I could do with the $10,000 extra dollars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just choosing that. Like, okay, I'm cool with where I'm at.
Exactly. It depends on you. It's just so many
You know what I'm
things.
trying to say?
It depends on your circumstance, what your values are. Like these, there's so many
Yeah,
things involved in it. Yeah, it's not just.
but I feel like the world's led by money. So it's like,
Oh yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the thing. And it's like you don't know who you are until it's like the fire when we were kids, and then you were like, "Oh, you ran back," but I was the first one to run. Remember, I was like, "Oh my god, we set this thing on fire!" I ran away, and then we all ran. And I was like, "Oh, dude!" The only thing in my head was we're gonna get in really big trouble. So I ran back and I started swatting out the fire. Like that was like a Superman moment, but I was like, "No, that was out of fear, bro." Like in that moment, I wasn't thinking. I was just like, "We're gonna get in big trouble if we don't put this thing out."
Yeah.
Right? Right. So statute of limitations is fine now. They don't even know what we're talking about. But you know what I'm saying? It's like you don't really know until you know. So it's like when I was offered that thing and I was like, I could say yes, but then saying no was like, okay, now I know
Mm-hmm.
who I am more,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? And those opportunities don't usually come. But I feel like if you don't live your life sentiently, then you're just going to like wake up and be like, why is my life like this?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna blame others for, which is how I felt with that response. I was kind of like,
Right. Yeah.
you know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, what? But like, we all make choices, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a reason why I live the way I live, you know? And like, I feel like have, we don't take enough time to take stock of the the decisions we're making.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And which is like to bring it back to Drake, which is kind of how I feel. It's like maybe he was just like swept up in the whole thing. So this is a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, well
Maybe.
now,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it's like, but when was that moment where you're like, no?
Yeah. Maybe.
It's like, okay,
Maybe
no,
his people was like, yeah, we should have a response. Like this will help with your name.
no. I'm for sure. No, 100%. I'm sure. No, not about the rap battle. I'm talking about the sex trafficking.
Okay.
Like, when was the point? Like, why did you hire an ex-sex trafficking person to be on your team?
He's still on
You know
his
what I'm saying?
team, or he?
Yeah, he's still on his team, bro. It's one of his key people.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, why are you surrounding yourself with that person? Like, this is one of those moments where you're like, you know? And this is why I hope nobody dies from this. Like, I hope, like, because we saw what happened to Tupac, Biggie, Nipsey Hussle, right? All these people, just like these rappers, got gunned down, right? I really hope Kendrick doesn't get gunned down. I just want more music. You're a great leading by example, right? And one thing that Kendrick was saying early on, because they used to be friends, right? So when Kendrick came to Toronto, Drake was like, let me show you what this lavish lifestyle will be like. Like, we're rich and we're famous, right? Because Drake was more famous than him at the time. And then Kendrick had a crisis of conscience. He's like, do I want this? He actually, his whole verse on Drake's album, where he was first featured, is all about him wrestling with the price of fame.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows that it's like, there's some bad things that you have to do a part of it as a part of this. And it's like, do I really want to be a part of this?
Right.
You know? And that's one of those moments where it's like, you don't know till you know. And now you're famous. and like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like you see it, you're like, oh, I could be more famous if I just join these sex traffickers.
Sure. Yeah. I see. I know what you mean. Yeah. It's just like doing these things will help with your fame or whatever, and then like
Yeah, like,
you don't
or
realize.
show us your team player.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't know what Drake's been doing.
Sure.
Like, going back to like the Epstein stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's like, he's getting all this like dirt on people and like sleeping with minors and then like videotaping it so that he has like this video in his pocket of a politician sleeping with a minor so he could be like, oh, I'll blackmail you, right? And it's like, what if that was the deal? It's like, hey, I'll give you this entire fortune and
Mm-hmm.
you let me have this dirt on you. And you're kind of like faced with that decision again. You're like, do I want to do this? Yes or no?
Yep.
I'm going to look at myself in this,
Sure.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is like, we're all faced with that to some degree in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Where it's like you want something, you think it can happen, but the cost is too heavy, but you're not thinking about the cost. So you're just like, I just want this thing.
Short-term gain.
Yeah, short-term gain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like long-term spirituality and like whatever.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. People think of short-term gain more often than
Right. And
the long-term.
I think
Of
that's
course.
the world we're living in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like, do you really want to wake up 10 years from now and be like, oh, damn, I shouldn't have done that because it sent me down this path?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, okay, like, even like now Tara's a doctor, right? And like, we were talking about this. Yes, this is some personal stuff, I guess, but like, whatever. She'll never listen to this. But like, so she was like so grateful about how she's now a doctor, and she was like, yeah, I've actually completed it, right? And I was like, but you could have not. You know what I'm saying? It's like there were so many moments of like, can I do this? Do I have enough energy to do this? You know what I'm trying to say? It's like she could have just kept working as like a regular administrative person. Remember, she was like doing that for a while,
Yeah.
and it's like, but then she was like, oh, there's something more. It's like, okay, go chase that intuition. You know, okay, keep chasing the intuition. Okay, now you're a doctor. Now she's like, oh, I feel finally fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, because you completed the journey. Like you knew internally that there was something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, keep chasing the dragon, bro, until you figure it out. You know? And I think that's intuition though. I think that dragon or like that
Sure.
internal thing is like, I really believe there's like a force inside of you that, because I read the Tools book. You know that the psychologist for not super bad, the dude super bad Stutz. Remember that thing that was so famous for a bit? It was like on Netflix. He's like a psychologist for the super bad dude. I forgot his name. I don't want to say
for
description because I feel bad because he doesn't like that description.
Oh, the doctor thing?
Jonah Hill.
Oh, you're talking about Jonah Hill. Yeah.
There we go. I remember. So there was a Netflix. Do you remember that documentary?
I don't think I watched it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I
remember. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that dude, the psychologist in that documentary, dropped a book called The Tools. Okay. And I got recommended this book from a coworker from a coworker. So like his one coworker is like, hey, have you read this book? And this coworker told me about it. I was like, no, I haven't read this book. I was like, I don't like self-help books. Okay. And then American Alchemy, the dude who I watched the UFO stuff from, he was like, he had them on and he's like, oh, this whole episode's about the tools, whatever. And then I found out that the American Alchemy guy, his dad is the psychologist and his grandfather is the Stutz guy from Jonah Hill's documentary.
Okay.
But it's funny because I was like, who's this random UFO researcher? And it's like, oh, you come from money, bro. So you have time to.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, I live off my investments. I'm like, where did you get the money for these investments? Oh, your family's rich. Got it, got it, got it.
Right.
But anyways, so like he made the whole episode about it. So I watched it. And I'm like, okay, let me go buy the book. Because if I hear it multiple times, like maybe there's something to it. I read the book. It's good. It's a good introductory thing to like spirituality. But one thing that he brought up in the book is we all lose our like the voice in our head of like intuition, and it's very strong when we're little kids, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, oh, go do this. I'll play outside, blah, blah, blah. Like go here, not there. You know, like we have that voice, and he's saying that like we lose that connection over time, and he was saying that spirituality, you know, it's not something you can articulate. It's something you feel. That's what makes it real. So like, I know what that voice feels like. It's not like a literal voice. It's like a pull. You're pulled towards something. You're just like, oh, I should really go do that. But then people sever that. It's like, oh, I should really go do that. Sever. Oh, I should really study for that test. Sever. You know what I'm trying to say? And I think that we're all pulled by this force. Like that's why when Tara was like, oh, I'm so happy and grateful. I'm like, yeah, you just listen to the voice. You're just like pulled by the dragon of your intuition.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're here, now you're happy, but it's like, you know, that was pulling you further. And I think that a lot, aside from the money thing, I think the real root cause of this is like you're losing that connection to the higher self or like your intuition, like what you really want. Because your intuition, like I'm sure, was like, hey Drake, you probably should not be hanging out with the sex trafficker. Like I'm sure he felt that.
We don't know what's in his mind.
Okay, fair. If I was like, hey Vish, you should hire this dude as a bodyguard. Like, oh, what's he done before? Like he was a sex trafficker before. Don't worry, he's a really good bodyguard. You'd be like, oh, that's weird.
Sure. Yeah.
Actually, I would be like, what's it like, sex trafficking? Like, what was that experience like? I'm just be curious, like, what made you do that? You know? But I wouldn't want to go into business with this dude. You know? So I think that's the main thing here is like what I'm getting at is like we lose the intuition. And I feel like Kendrick is constantly stoking the intuition, like he's like holding on to that. And that's why like I'm like gravitate towards his example. And I think we all should do that. Where it's just like if you really think you should do that, you're in F1, right?
Yeah.
And like right? And you're like, oh, I really like this F1. And then you went to like those race things, you got the game. You know what I mean? Like this was your intuition. It doesn't matter if it's just, oh, it's just a hobby, bro. Like leave it alone. It's like, yeah, but you're called to it. If you didn't do that, it's like, what else would you be doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. True.
Right, you get what I mean, right? And it's like, but that's the call. It's like, oh, I should really do this. But you could have been like, nah, I'd rather not. I'd rather just sleep in and not go to this F1 thing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
We all feel it to different degrees. We just don't know what that thing is. But I'm just saying that that's intuition. It's like,
right.
Because what else are you gonna do with your time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? You got any?
No, I got nothing else to say. No, but intuition
but
is,
though, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Well, one of the tools that's in the tools book is, but it's funny because when I was reading, I was like, yeah, I do these things all the time. But they're not. I didn't think of them as tools. I was just like, oh, that's cool that you articulated it like that. So, one of the things was called Jeopardy. A tool called Jeopardy. And what that is you just imagine yourself on your deathbed. And I'm like,
okay. Yeah.
Who doesn't think about dying, you know? But I was talking about, okay, how often do you think about dying?
I don't want to say often. Maybe moments.
Okay. Oh, okay, keep going. Yeah.
It's just moments. I can't remember the last time, but I feel like there was something, but I don't remember what it was about.
But it's not like elusive. You know, people are like dying. Oh, push that away. It's not real. We're not gonna die. So many you could tell, like as kids, which is like important because as you get older, you know, you want to make safer decisions. But I never thought of dying as a kid. That's what kind of made a lot of things very dangerous. You know, like you're like bike riding and you're like,
sure,
I don't care. I'm just gonna try this wheelie. Remember like the video where I got scraped up? What if I hit my head, bro? Like,
See,
I'm not thinking about that.
again, for me growing up, the thing that was for me, because I was older than you guys, was like to make sure everyone's fine.
Oh, true. Yeah, that was your role. Yeah, right.
That's my role.
Right. That's true. Okay, bro. Oh my. Wait, hold on. This is so funny about the role. Okay. All right. Quick pause on the dying thing, and then I'll jump back to it. You know what's really interesting? So, okay. So my coworker, shout out to you. We were talking about going to a restaurant. Okay, I don't know about your culture, but like in our culture. So I was like, oh, they're like, oh, I'm gonna go to this restaurant. I'm like, oh, dude, it's a sick restaurant, whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, it's for a family birthday of this person, right? And then I was like, oh, like, so how does that work? Like, does that family pay? And then she was like, yeah, like the kids, like the couple who are having the children will pay, but obviously like some parents will help, right? And I was like, oh yeah, that's agreed. Yeah, same. And then I was like, you said yeah, like that's same for your culture? Or you're just saying like yeah.
It depends. I mean, it's more from my wife's side, right? So whenever we go, because she's a bigger family, so it's all split up. But like if
Okay.
if it was a party for us, like the wedding anniversary, I paid. So it's like it depends on that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yes. All right, so we're on the same page. It depends. Yeah, totally. Uh yours is kind of like sliding away, but when you said like I paid, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. So I was talking about that before to other people. I won't name names, but like they're just culturally different than me.
Sure.
And they're like, why would you pay? And I'm like, because we put on the party. Like what? And then they're like, yeah, in our culture, like everyone pays for themselves. And I'm like, that's not what we do. And I was like, oh, that rocked my world because I was like, I thought everyone did that. And then when I told my coworker that, she was like, I thought everyone did that. I'm like, no, this is what I'm realizing. That cultures are all different. The thing that we're thinking as normal is not normal to other people.
Yeah.
Bro, it's mind blow. And like the more time you spend with different cultures, you're like, oh, I need to remember that as like this is your culture. I was hanging out with these people who are not of my culture. They were not BIPOC, and we were all there. And so their tendency in this culture is once you get your all right, hold on, let me ask you this. If you're at a party, are you going to once your food arrives, are you just gonna start scarfing it down?
No, I generally wait.
Yeah. Same. Asian cultures.
It just feels
if
weird.
you're-
It feels awkward.
It feels weird,
I'm
bro.
the only one eating. Other ones are still starving and waiting for their food. It just feels
Thank
weird.
you, bro. Thank you. You said that. That's hilarious. I thought that was normal too. I was like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, you know, just like I'm out here just like scarfing it down. Like you guys are like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so hungry. Oh, I can't wait for my food. And you're like, sucks to be you. No.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of the vibe I get. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
kind of weird, right? So, or even like I know that if we don't know that if we're all in line and it's like a random party, but I know you, so I'm like, oh, here's a plate for you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, yeah, here's, or if it's like close enough to you, I'm like, oh, okay, you got it yourself. You know what I mean? It's like you
Sure.
kind of just collectively,
Yeah.
like you're not gonna like swipe the plate quick.
No.
You know, let me go sit down, start carving it down as fast as I can. You're like, bro, that's a little
But I
weird.
think it's also like, you know, even in a buffet, it's like there's limited supply. It's like I also think about others. Like, I'm not going to take the whole thing.
Facts,
That's
yeah.
another thing. But people will take the whole thing and not think about others. That happens all the time.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. And so, but it's funny because somebody from a different culture is like, "Oh, you're just too much of an obliger. You're just
Sure.
too
Yeah.
people pleasing."
Oh, I
I'm like,
understand.
"No, it's not people pleasing. It's manners."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in our culture, it's manners. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about people pleasing. It's like you can call it people pleasing, but that's what a rude person would say.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that just shows me what you're thinking.
Right.
You know? Anyways, so I'm so glad. It's so funny. It really is like it reminded me of Shogun when I was explaining this to my coworker. I was like,
I was about to bring up
we
Shogun.
I know. I was like, we literally do this as a normal thing. We think this is normal. but people don't think this is normal. They're like, oh, Asians are so nice. I'm like, oh no, non-Asians are just rude. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, bro.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's a cultural thing. It's not that we're nice. It's just how we were raised. Right? So it's funny because Shogun, it's like, you saw that there, where it's like, oh, you guys are too formal, whatever. It's like, no, that's just who we are as people. But then again, it's like, you have to understand that this is how people operate, you know, like, but you can't feel bad about it. All I do now, I was saying before that, like, what I do is I just mental check note it. I'm like, okay, when I'm around this culture, I'm going to be like this. And then that becomes, oh, you're just such a people pleaser, you'll adapt to other people. I'm like, no, I just don't want a problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to say? Like, it's like what we said before, where it's like, you go to a different country and you expect Filipino food, but you're in Spain. It's like, what the hell are you doing here then? Eat the Spanish food, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we're not in the Philippines. Like, you have to adapt to your culture. When in Rome, do what the Romans do, you know? So anyways, I noticed, here's one that it was interested about. So we wait for food, right? But for me, if my alcohol comes before everyone else's, I'm cool taking a small sip. I'm just like, because it's not food. It's just like, let me just like ease the tension, whatever. Oh, my alcohol came. Take a little sip, right?
Yeah.
So I noticed our food hadn't arrived yet. Our alcohol had arrived, but not everyone's alcohol had arrived. So mine was there, and we were like talking. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I took a little sip of it, and I put it down, and I noticed with this culture that I was with, they're like, ugh, he didn't wait. He didn't wait for us to cheers. And I was like, oh, you guys do that? I was like, I felt really bad. I was like, oh, okay. So I just made sure don't touch it again. And then when everyone's alcohol arrived, they're like, okay, everyone, well, we're all here now. Cheers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's what you wait for, but you don't wait for my food, bro. Like, as soon as your food arrives, I'm starving. You're, but then like, if we're why is alcohol sacred, bro? Like, alcohol's not food. I'm like, let me just chill out because you guys are stressing me out right now. And it's like, oh, this guy didn't wait. This guy didn't wait for the cheers. And then you gotta like go around ching 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 ching, and you're like, this is weird, bro. Like, the food meant more to you. The food meant more to you than alcohol. All right. I mean,
but everybody has different
mental check note. I was like, next time around these people, do not touch your alcohol. You eat your food right away, but do not touch your alcohol. Weird, right? I don't know, cultures, man. Cultures are crazy. I didn't even have this as a topic. You just reminded me because I was like, that's so funny. This does happen. But it's weird because, but then, okay, then you have to think, oh, damn, the time. Shoot. No, we're good. We're good. I still have time. I'm watching the clock for myself because I gotta run.
Same.
But the interesting part, I get it now. When people marry into their own culture, or like they associate themselves only with that culture, it's like, of course you do that.
Yeah.
So like, we're talking about when I think about professional things, I like, okay, I gotta have to like not give away any trade secrets. But I was working on this like problem about like marketing, and it was funny because like I'm Asian, so I was like, oh yeah, Asian people be all over this. So basically what it is like, it's to make your child stand out by doing this extracurricular program so you seem like a leader, blah, 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 blah. Right? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, Asian people totally be all over this. And they were kind of like, but it was okay I said it because I'm Asian. So I was like, okay, it's not racist because he said it. So, you know what I mean? But it's like, that's why archetypes exist, bro. They exist for a reason because they're real. This is why when foreign people come to a different country, you literally associate with your culture because that's what you know. You know your culture is gonna be the same. I didn't know about the cheers thing. I thought it was rude when you guys eat really quickly, but like it's not rude in your culture. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, so like. But that's why I call myself the ninja. Like I have to adopt these things. Like remember these is marketing, right? But like we wonder why we have such a division. It's because all cultures are totally different. The way you were completely brought up is totally different, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this one thing. So this kind of came up. So would you actually you probably have done it in the past. You went to Scouts, right?
Yeah.
Did they let you go overnight camping at Scouts for like multiple days?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Into the wilderness, or
Yeah.
where did you go? Tell me about this.
No, I mean like camping. Yeah, we've done camp.
No,
Oh,
no, no, no. With the scouts. With the scouts.
yeah, with the scouts.
How many days?
Like a weekend. I don't remember like a weekend length. I've even done one time winter camping.
Okay, all right, totally. All right, all right. How long were you in scouts for?
A long time. And like this is like elementary school time, right?
No, no, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just like, how many? Like, were you in there for years, or
Yeah, I think so.
so
But
you knew the people? You were kind of like comfortable with it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so how long before you went camping? Like right away? Were you just
I
like,
think
hey, I'm just
so.
gonna jump into?
I think so.
Oh, interesting. Wait, hold on, wait. Let me preface this. So, when your parents signed you up for scouts,
Yeah.
did you do like close courses, like weekend courses where they get used to the people that they know the people? Or did they're like, hey, scouts, we're going to bring you out for 2 weeks into the forest?
No, I think that it's a normal practice for the parents to know everybody.
Yeah, it is a normal practice for the parents to know everybody. One would think, Vish, one would think that's only our culture. No, bro. No, I
No,
swear,
because
marketing's fascinating,
but
bro.
it was like that with my scouts, right? Most people were white though, right? Except for me.
No, 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 totally,
Yeah.
totally, for sure. But your parents got to know the instructors,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah, you're like, okay, yeah, I know, yeah, you're a nice guy. He's cool. I'm just gonna let you go here. My little Vish is just gonna like learn knots for a little bit, and then then once I get comfortable, maybe I'll bring you out in the forest for a weekend, right?
Sure.
That makes sense, right? So, would your parents have let you go out, not even knowing any instructor, off the jump for 2 weeks into the forest?
I have to ask them because I don't remember exact what
Okay,
happened.
would all right? Does it sound weird? No, like let's say you've never heard of this thing. You don't know about scouts. You're like, what's scouts about? We're gonna send you for 2 weeks into the forest with this trained instructor.
Just like that? I don't
Yeah,
think
just like
so.
that. You don't even know the instructor.
Probably not.
No, right?
Yeah, probably not. I don't
You'd be
know.
like, that's kind of weird, bro. Like, I don't know you. Are you gonna rape my kid, bro? You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna Drake my kid? That's the new term. Like how's no
What'd you say?
is. You're gonna Drake my kid.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. I thought I was like, because they don't say that word in TikTok either. They have to say grape.
Oh, whoops. No, I did say the R word.
Yeah, before.
No, but you know what I'm trying to say
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like these are like literal thoughts. Like
Sure,
I don't
sure,
know if
sure,
you're a
sure.
predator, bro. No, you're
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but I don't know if those were the thoughts at the time.
No, no, no. But like no, but as a parent from a different country, you're like, I don't know you. How am I gonna just leave my kid with you for 2 weeks? I don't know you.
For sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In the forest. Do you know anything about my kid's culture? Like, what if the kid has to use the bathroom? What if he wants to come home? What food are you going to give them? Because I know you're vegetarian. So it's like, do you have any vegetarian food for my kid? You know what I'm trying to say? All these things, right? So in our culture, that is weird. I wouldn't just randomly drop off my kid for 2 weeks with a bunch of people I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
In not our culture, that is very common. They'll do like summer camps. They'll drop their kid for like 2 months into the thing, and it's not weird. And you know what they call us? Helicopter parents, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, ew, it's kind of weird that these people are helicopter parents who don't want to just leave their kid for 2 months. I'm like, and I had to literally say, okay, what if, let's just hypothesize, you're a Muslim kid with a hijab, and then you're asking this white person to bring you out into the forest for 2 weeks. You don't even know anything about my culture. You don't know I have to pray. You don't know if I have to eat something. You don't know, like, how this hijab work. You're going to think I'm weird. I have to keep it on. No, but you have to put your helmet over. No, but I need to keep it on for my religious stuff. Shut up and take it off. You're going to put on the helmet. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't see that because most people only see life through their own lens of culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And this is where we have a sticking point with everybody in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is why we have problems, bro. Okay, this is actually a perfect. I didn't even expect this to lead in perfectly, but it's leading in perfectly to my. Oh, do you have to leave before I do? What time?
No. It's okay. As long as we have another 10 minutes is fine. 10, 15.
Oh, perfect. That's great. Perfect. Yeah. So I did this unconscious bias training And it was the best training I have ever seen in my entire life. Not the best. All right, that's like really overhyped. It's one of the best trainings I've ever done in my entire life.
Sure.
The reason why is because it was led by a BIPOC person
Mm-hmm.
who understood science.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even just like, because when I was listening to it, I was like waiting for the point where I'm like, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Right.
But everything that they said is what we said. And I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about this before, unconscious bias. You don't know you're having a bias.
Yeah.
Right? But you live through the world through your biases. How do we know to stop at a red light? Heuristics, bro. How do we remember we talked about that in the racist one? I'm like, I'm walking down an alley with an old lady and a giant black dude. I am going to choose the old lady because I know that I can take out the old lady. That guy's going to give me a problem. Oh, it's heuristic. You're racist, bro. It's like, no, this is how we survive in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like we literally, you see a tiger, you see a whatever, you see a tiger, you see a raccoon.
Yeah.
But as you walk towards the tiger walks away. If you walk towards the raccoon has rabies, runs up and bites you. You never know. Totally, you never know. But we run through life through heuristics, and that's what this training was about. They were like, you can't get rid of this thing. It's a part of our nature. It's survival. But you can influence this thing. And I was like, this is the most genius thing ever. Remember how you and I said, it's a little weird if you're going to tell me about being diverse and all your friends are white?
Yeah.
It's weird. How do you do that?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna like listen to like some rap music and like I'm gonna get it. But then as soon as you stop the rap music, it's like, but everyone else's tendencies are non-BIPOC. So you're still within the vacuum of your own psychology of like, this is your like influence, right? And it'll influence your subconscious to have specific actions. So the way this presenter got it across was we didn't exercise. You didn't have to show anybody. Write down 5 to 10 names of people you trust that you could tell anything to. And then I knew exactly where they're going. I laughed right away. And then they said, but nobody else got it. And then they were like, now write down their attributes. And then you saw people on the screen go, ooh, because they were all the same race as those people. So how are you going to tell me about diversity and inclusion if the 5 to 10 people you trust the most and spend the most time with are all the same as you?
Sure. Yeah.
And I even realized it for myself because I did it, right? And I was like, start naming you guys. And then I noticed that I had named 9 people. 5 out of the 9 people were all Filipino. And I was like, okay, that's already a bias. But at least I'm kind of in the middle, right? It was like a middle. But then imagine those people that it's just white across the board, bro.
Yeah.
So how are you going to tell me anything about diversity, bro? You inherently are not diverse. And we know that your environment shapes your narrative of the world. Just like the Cheers thing, just like the eating quickly. Like if you were around other people, like let's say you're like, your tendencies are white, right? You're like, I'm just scarf down this food right away. But if you go to a Filipino party and people see that and they're like, this guy's rude, what are you going to do? You're going to change your behavior.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to surround yourself with other cultures in order to change your behavior and adapt. But I don't think people are ready for this. People don't want to do this on the daily. Right? You agree?
Sure.
And then you're like,
of course.
even if you were spending time with them, you're like, oh, that's weird that they do it. Well, if you're thinking that's weird that they're going to do it, then you're not going to like change.
Yeah.
So how are you going to be diverse? You're still sticking to your own narrative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, I thought that was really interesting because it really articulated how in Sapiens, it said that we're like the storytelling ape. And like all these cultural things are just cultural narratives. It's like, don't do that because of this. Like these are all stories, right? But the best kicker out of this entire thing, so we did the whole unconscious bias training, and they ended with statistics about how this doesn't change anything. And I was like, exactly. I was like, yeah. Because we both know that. It's like, yeah, you, even if you know about it, you still won't change.
Yeah.
But right? And then the person who was facilitating it was like, but it's all not for naught. Next time, just double think. Like she gave like strategies of like,
sure.
okay, like, when you have this first thought, ask yourself why you're having this thought. But then I realized, oh, these are all like just meditation practices, realizing you have a mind. After the thing, I was like, oh, you're talking about enlightenment. I was like, you just fully red pilled all these people. Like a very gentle red pill, but like everything you're describing is like realizing you have a mind, undoing your narrative, and like reprogramming yourself.
Right.
But that's some heavy work. It's not going to be done in like one webinar.
No. Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
These are like continued practices, right? It's not like a
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not like
if you don't practice it, you're not going to get used to it or be normalized to it, right?
Yeah, your brain's not going to shape in that manner. Yeah, it's 100%. And then it's funny because that book, The Tools, they said that there too. They're like, you finished reading this book, but the problem is that it's about using the tools now. It's not just about reading about the tools. And it's like, yeah, we can't, you do like professional development as like a 1 hour training session. Like, how's my life going to change in 1 hour, bro?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be a daily thing.
Yeah.
People are like, why are you such a good marketer? I'm like, because I'm always thinking about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Like marketing is just like how I see the world, which is narratives. You're shaping narratives, right? But they're like, oh, I didn't see it that way. It's because like you're not programming your brain in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, fun fact to the person that ran it was South Asian.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, okay, so you know the spiritual end of this. Like you took the hard science and then you're alluding to the spirituality here. Because I'm like, the way you end it, the practices that you could do, I'm like, these are Eastern practices, bro.
Right.
Like, they will help.
Yeah.
The problem is like,
of course,
actively meditating every day.
Sure.
But once you get it, like once you understand the path of meditation, you don't need to do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't do it every day, but you can tap in now. You're like, oh, is that my mind acting up?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, I think we're out of time. Any last things?
No, it's an interesting stuff. Yeah. But
yeah. Oh, actually, one last quick thing. Speaking of unconscious bias, like surrounding yourself with like, remember I was like, oh, like what you surround yourself with, like programs you subconsciously. I brought this up before, but it's really cementing in my mind now that, because like I'll like get up, brush my teeth, and like my sister will call me, and she'll be like, "Oh, can I tell you about my work day?" And I'm like, "Sure." And she's like, "So this guy was dying," and I'm like, "Oh my god, bro! I've just tried to get you off the phone so I can like start my day chill, and you're just telling me about like death." And then I realized like that was my breakfast conversation every morning when my mom came home from work.
So.
Right? And it's like, but that is your fear, and I think that's why I'm always, because I asked you like how often do you think about death, and I'm like, I think about it like all the time. That's why with these decisions it's like, well, because when it was like Jeopardy, imagine yourself on your deathbed, how many people think about actually dying?
Yeah.
But like growing up with like a nurse, and then now my sister's a nurse too, it's like, god damn, these stories are horrific. It's just like,
sure,
people die.
Yeah. Right.
And then the nonchalantness with how like, yeah, people die. It's like, but to other people it's like, oh dude, they died. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a shock. But when you see death all the time, you're just like, it happens. And then you like kind of,
yeah. You get used to it, or in some way.
Yeah, totally. And like I was hearing that, like, oh, you're just like suppressing the trauma. You're still probably like traumatized by seeing all that death. I'm like, you probably are, but at the same time, like, you probably get used to it, like you said. Like, I don't think after a point you don't have PTSD from it. You're just like, oh, people do die. And like they're so like, both of them are just like, my mom and my sister are just like, don't let me go in that healthcare, so just let me die. And I'm like, what? But everyone wants to survive. Like, no, I know what it's like. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Just let me die.
Right.
Death, trust me, death is an easy way to go compared to watching people slowly die.
Right.
And I'm like, I just wanted breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, bro. So with that, everyone remember, you're going to die. It's real. It's normal. So what are you gonna do with your time?
Yeah.
And that's where the intuition comes in, because like, don't waste your time, bro. Just intuition, bro. Because we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Till next week. That was a crazy talk, bro. Yeah.
It was all you.
There's some craziness happening this week, man, with the goddamn Drake. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Till next week. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.